You're listening to Mark of the Maker. Hey everybody, I'm Mark Steiner and you're listening to Mark of the Maker, and this is Minisode. We're going to give you a little recap of TKI 2021, this year's Tactical Invitational, which changed dates and locations, which is kind of an interesting thing, so we'll talk about all that stuff here in just a couple minutes. We had Michael and Sean at the show, and they're here with us to talk about it. So we have Mr. Michael Birch.
Here.
And we have Mr. Sean Kendrick.
Hello.
And, sounded lively.
Feeling it. That show recharged my batteries.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Post-show excitement.
Yeah, it still ain't wore off.
Nice. It's been a while, right? It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
For truth.
Yeah. So you guys went to TKI. Tom's not with us. He's working like a dog on his Blade Show knives, which by the time you guys hear this will already be out there. But so he's got his head buried in that game, and Michael and Sean are here. We're going to talk about TKI. So this is the first.
Before we get rolling.
Oh,
since we're mentioning Tom, I got to give him a shout out on that piece he finished up in the Copper Sanmai, the Dion Qmai Damascus. Just gorgeous, man. Gorgeous. Once you hear this, that knife is fucking killer.
It is super killer. Very unusual Tom Crine hand rub on that guy.
Oh, the whole piece overall is just probably one of my favorite. Yeah, one of my favorite Tom pieces.
Yeah,
maybe ever.
Got some killer stag.
Killer stag. And I'm not even really a stag guy, but you could not have chosen a better material to go with the way he did the blade.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Outstanding. Nice going, Tom. All right. So, one of the things we need to do is take care of a little business. So, thanks to our friends on Patreon, we just did a little giveaway for fixed blade knife that Michael made. And so that was a thank you thing for our Patreon folks and folks that have a challenge coin for Mark of the Maker. So, thanks everybody for your support, for buying merch, for sticking with us through thick and thin here.
Yeah, man. Thank you all. It's really nice of you guys to support our podcast like that.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
We had some outstanding turnout for that little giveaway thing, and we're going to try to do more of that, I think, here as time goes on. That's the first time we've done it. So, little incentive thing for some of our Patreon supporters. So, if you're not part of our Patreon supporting the show, please consider it, patreon.com. You can find us there. Just look up Mark of the Maker, and we are there, and there's ways to send us a couple bucks each month to help support the show and keep things moving forward. So, thanks, everybody from Patreon for supporting us.
Thank you, guys. It makes a big difference.
It does. Sean, you want to hit our next thank you we need to deliver?
Absolutely. If you're looking for exotic materials to use in your knife builds or any other builds that may require exotic materials, I recommend you head over to American Metal Exchange and let George take care of you. The website's amxinc.com. That's amxinc.com for all of your exotic alloy needs. Tell them Sean sent you. That's American Metal Exchange and Chimichurri Emporium.
We should make up a jingle for him, but just not tell him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, give it time. I'm working on all of it. Working on all of it. He's going to get his advertising dollar out of this before I fucking get done with it.
See how fast we can run him off.
Oh, fucking jingle on Mark of the Maker. That's wild. Well, you never know, George. It may happen. Hang on, buddy. Buckle up.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of our crew now, whether you like it or not.
They call that guilt by association in most circles, but maybe George would be okay with it. Too funny. All right. Well, thanks, George, for your support for the show. We really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and that's amxinc.com. No shit.
All right. And unfortunately, we have a passing to talk about. Michael, you want to explain what happened?
Jimmy Fikes passed away. We've talked about him on the show before. Basically a pioneer, a good dude, and he's going to be sorely missed.
Yeah.
We just want to say rest in peace. And I don't know. It's just kind of a real sad one today.
Yeah. There's like a whole generation of these guys right there starting to thin out. It's really, really hard to watch and see. And so our condolences to his family and friends, and rest in peace, Jimmy.
Rest in peace, sir.
One of the greats. I mean, that just, there's no other way to say it.
Yep. Okay. Well, we got together for a little shorter episode this time to talk about TKI, the Tactical Invitational. So this is a show that previously, was it at one point in Chicago years ago? Did we talk about that? It was somewhere else, right? And then moved to Vegas? Or am I making that up?
For some reason, I think you may be correct.
Yeah.
And I was telling you today about finding that old flip video.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like my first TKI in Vegas. I was shit scared.
Michael was cleaning out some electronics and he had like old cameras and old video recorder. So you found a flip video recorder, right? That had some stuff on it.
Oh yeah. You guys remember that one? You only charge it by plugging it into your computer and.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. So TKI was in Vegas in January most recently. The show changed hands and it moved to Nashville, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're recording this here in the week following. So it's kind of weird timing of the show, right? It's the week before a Blade show.
That was strange.
Yeah.
I can't say that made it harder. That's for sure. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull off two, and I know some guys have and will, and I don't know. It made it pretty tough.
Yeah. Well, for guys that aren't super prolific, it feels like it kind of forces a little bit of a choice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It necessitates it.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. Week before Blade show, I think the description I heard, maybe from Sako or maybe from somebody else, was that it was to allow for folks that are traveling from far away to be able to be there for this one and tie Blade show in with it. But I'm not sure that all that travel was able to happen like folks expected.
Well, that wasn't the whole story on it either. See, I found out more at the show.
Okay.
A big part of it was a lot of late notice, and within the Hilton group, they were actually really working with Sako on it, and that was the only date they could get them fit in with any kind of reasonable, timeline.
Gotcha. Yeah, those kind of events, they take up space and time, right? It takes up basically a whole weekend at a big hotel.
Yeah. I mean, I think that really they were lucky to get it within the time frame.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering if that played a part in it, because it seems like everything's kind of messed up and moved around, and with all the uncertainty, and then everyone's like rushing to grab event probably places left and right now.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'd be interesting to see where it lands next year.
Well, we know from the show last year, there was a Nashville show. The town itself was a pretty cool spot to have a show, right?
Still is.
Fantastic place. It was, I enjoy having a show there. It's like kind of low-key Vegas, I guess, where you can walk around and just kind of look at the buildings and see some sights. And, if you like to have some alcohol, there's plenty of that there. It's definitely sort of a party center, lots of scooters and the pedal cars with the booze on it and stuff like that.
And music.
Yes.
Music everywhere.
Lots of music.
Yeah. It's a great destination on its own, right? I mean, Nashville's a fun town even just to go spend a weekend in without a show. So throw in a show with it and there's lots of opportunity for things to do.
Yeah, I guess there was a big old hockey game that was going on, and then they said, unless you want to be like packed, stay away from Broadway, the main party strip there. So we stayed away from that.
You guys got some good food though. I know you guys ate together at least once.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I eat good every night.
Nice. It's hard not to in that town. My in-laws live nearby, so we spent some time there and have over the years, for lots of years now, and always good spots to eat. Like Sean said, great spots to go hear some music, lots to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, just almost every spot has live music almost.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to walk, 50 feet without seeing somebody performing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we walked past, it was like 10 o'clock, and there was already live bands going. What was that, Friday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday morning.
Right.
Already a little bit of beer flowing.
That's a rough gig, being the morning band.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
All right. So different venue, different dates, lots of stuff different this time, different management. So I've not been to the Friday Night Blade Affair. I was under the impression that the lotteries were going to run really similar. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Why don't you guys explain how the lotteries worked at TKI 2021? I think this was basically the TKI has been an all lottery or open bid, one or the other show, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least it was this time. Well, hell, every time, ain't it?
Yep.
Well, basically, you're kind of already in every person's lottery. You're already in, and then they basically do a random number generator and do like 5 names per knife. So they say the first knife, you go to see if your name's on something. And if you don't want it, you pass, then it goes on to the second name. After 15 minutes, you get to find and pay or whatever. Once it started, it was pretty quick. They were pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I had my trepidations, but I thought it went very smooth.
I did too. I wasn't sure because I've heard, some folks liked it, some folks don't at the other events. But yeah, it was pretty smooth. And, I'd like to hear how the customers like it because, that's really what's the most important. But it was smooth on my end. I don't seem that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for the most part, the customers enjoyed it. And I think it added a different level of excitement because you were going to each table, seeing if your number was on that sheet.
I know, historically when I would go to TKI with Michael and there were like ticket books where people had to rip tickets out and put them into entry bags and all that kind of stuff. That piece of it to me was always wild to watch from behind the table because it looked super stressful, right? People were very stressed out trying to get around the room and get those tickets into all the bags they wanted to be in. And some people were in all of them and some people weren't. And I would say probably the majority were in all of the lotteries. So maybe that makes sense that everybody would get automatically entered. That was one of the things I kind of scratched my head about as well. I didn't go this year, but it was like, well, do I really want to be in all the lotteries? But I guess if it really is no kidding okay to pass, then no big deal.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you already spent all your money.
I can certainly see from the maker side of the table where that's just easier and no drama. But for the buyer side, it'd be interesting to hear some other opinions. It would be hard for me to say, here's a maker that maybe actually is someone I know and like. I don't want to buy one of their knives that day, right? Well, I'll pass, right? That's a little weird feeling. So I don't know.
There's the opportunity for hurt feelings. That's the only bad part. And there's also that aspect of being in second place, but I don't know if there's a way around that because I know in the past we've done some of that and they're like, nobody wants to see that they almost got a knife,
Yes. Yeah, that's a rough one. Well, there's always emotions flying.
One of mine ended up going to the number 2 draw.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the dude was gone. He was picking up a friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he come back and was like, I heard I won. I was gone.
Oh.
So did they have a time limit? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, I think it was a 15-minute window.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
If not, it may have been 20 or 25 for the first and then 15 for each one after that.
Okay.
Something in that neighborhood at least.
Yeah, it makes sense. You only have so much time to get around. How many, if you guys had to guess, how many makers were there?
Was it 15, 16?
Probably maybe close to 20.
20.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a full room. It was, for not seeing a bunch of social media stuff about it, it was a lot fuller than I thought it was going to be.
From the participant perspective you're talking about.
Exactly. I was expecting sort of a small show, like small attendance, but because I just wasn't seeing a bunch of stuff out there, and I don't know if people were waiting to see the knives before kind of making a last minute decision or what was going on there. Or just not a lot of hubbub about it. Maybe I was just kind of had my head down, didn't see it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Were you seeing much, Sean, or what?
No.
As far as publicity ahead of time you're talking about? Or are you saying buzz from people?
No.
You buzz from people. Usually you see people being like, oh, who's going, who's doing what? And, I'd asked in my group and I've looked at other people's groups where they'd ask, and there wasn't a ton of, all right, it's just usually, or maybe people aren't like that anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, my Same thing as Michael. I had asked in my group, and I had seen others asking in their group, and there were a lot of maybes, and I wasn't sure what kind of turnout there was going to be.
Yeah, and maybe just a lot of hesitancy of, not knowing if they want to do a show. And I mean, I know I was that way. I was a bit worried and, concerned about doing this, especially after being kind of home for so long.
Right. It's an interesting thing. I think the timing, there are, I would say, tons of collectors with much more financial depth than me, but it would be hard to do TKI, spend a bunch of money there, and then go to Blade and potentially need to spend money there. Needs a strong word, but want to spend a bunch of money. That's a lot of money in a very short period of time. So yeah. It's kind of interesting.
Even if you're not buying knives, just travel and lodging.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Either you have 2 sets of plane tickets or travel arrangements, or you're gone for a whole week, which is on its own kind of a big deal. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll be honest. I hope he can do it next year with a little bit more space between other stuff. Right. I think that would be, my opinion would be better, but it's not my show. So
I hope so too. I really do. I think people had to draw a line and kind of pick sides on which one they were doing, which is unfortunate. You kind of want, because it's a great show, and Blade's a great show.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be conflicting.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I would love to be going to Blade this coming weekend. But.
Right. But by all accounts, a very well-run show as it was, right? If you consider it on its own, it sounds like it went very, very smoothly, which is the same reports we heard about Friday Night Blade Affair. So,
yeah, it was smooth. It was good. I really don't have any complaints.
I've got zero bitch, and I like to bitch, so.
So that's saying something.
Damn straight.
And then, like most small shows or smaller shows, I actually got to talk with people more, and it's nice to be able to walk around and shoot the shit with people on, Friday and stuff before getting ready for the show. It's enjoyable.
I had to sit here until I thought of something to bitch about.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy, we gave him too long.
Yeah, the food at the maker's reception wasn't so great.
Yeah.
But if that's the only thing you've got to bitch about, it was a fucking rousing success.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
What, so it sounds like you guys had a little bit of time. Who's some cool folks they had opportunity to talk with?
Well, I always stop by and see Jonas Iglesias' stuff, and as always, he brought the heat. He just had gorgeous stuff. Actually, he had probably my favorite knife of the show. His bid piece with the heated copper handles and the Damascus blade was just superb. Gorgeous folding knife.
I heard he did it very well with that knife.
Yeah, man, it was nice. Love the way he treats the copper.
Very nice dude doing good work. We like that.
Yep, I don't think I saw that piece.
No?
Oh, man, you missed a nice one.
I don't know if he had them out when I walked around.
It was that gnarly, heated finish where it gets kind of that reddish color and then the blacks and all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I got to meet Scott Cook. I was excited.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yes, it was.
Finally got to meet him. That was a big moment for me.
Yeah, Scott Cook, a little bit of a man of mystery, it seems like.
Yeah. It does seem that way.
Enigmatic.
I like it. So what'd you guys talk about? Did you ask him some questions about the whole integral thing?
Of course, it's always like kind of a little bit with the maker and maker, everyone's trying to set up. So I just kind of asked him how he's doing, all that fun stuff. I didn't get into the details at a later time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fanboyed a little bit and jetted.
That's pretty much it. So nice to meet you. And he was like, oh, and I was like, I got all excited about that. Then I went back to my thing and I was like, wait a minute. I've said that before too.
Damn it.
I wonder if he pulled a, I don't remember who the hell you are thing.
Right.
Surely not though.
Surely not. Well, that's cool. Any other notable pieces or makers or things you saw at the show that you want to talk about or point out to people? I didn't see pictures of tons of the pieces online. I saw pictures of a few of the pieces online, but not all of them for sure.
They did the virtual thing, and I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I'm not 100% sure how that went. Bob T did one virtually. Sue's in the hospital, so I'm sure that's probably why he stayed back. And then the other one was Sinkovich, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Is that that may have been travel issues.
Yeah.
So that was I'm not really 100% sure how that went down. That was on the other side of the room, but
yeah,
it looked kind of neat. Kind of reminded me of Arrested Development when they put him on the iPad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminded me of. Just watching people walk up to the Bob T screen and talk to him was getting me. I would be looking over, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like, Bob's sitting because he's, doing this from the computer, but he would never fucking sit at a knife show.
No.
That just the duality of that tickled me in a way that probably it had more reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Bob had good reason to be there. So we know Suze was in the hospital trying to get some help. She was searching for a doctor for a little while. So Suze, we hope you're recovering smoothly and hope everything's going okay. We've been thinking about you.
Absolutely.
Susie's
a quick sister,
a friend and a listener of the show. So Suze, we hope you're doing well. Yeah, virtual. That's an interesting thing. Well, we may see more of that, right? Who knows with some of this travel restriction stuff. I think I saw Grace isn't going to be able to come to Blade Show.
Oh, that's a pisser.
I think I saw that. Yeah, I think she...
I didn't see that at all.
Maybe I'm making this up, but I thought I saw that she was setting up knives in her house, like on folding tables, like having a show from her house or something, because she was kind of on the bubble for travel. So I'm not sure she's coming.
Yeah, I know that a couple of guys overseas that can't. I mean, same thing. They couldn't come.
Yeah, it wasn't that she wanted to be there. She had plans to be there. I think she had plane tickets and everything, but for some reason, I think there was travel restriction stuff coming our direction. Or maybe there's a little Hotel California. You can go to America, but you can't come back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I might have to edit that out if I'm wrong, but I swear I saw something saying she's not going to go.
Oh, and another interesting thing about this one, they opened them up for the bids.
Oh, yeah.
For everybody, which was a little different. You guys, I think, know my usual feelings about that, but I also understand it. It's like there was travel restrictions like we're talking about now, where people can't get to the show.
So for the kids at home who aren't familiar with your feelings, why don't you explain?
Well, usually it's when you do the bids at a show, I tend to like to keep it at the show because, people are paying money to get there and whatnot. But with, people not being able to make the show or being, worried about going for reasons, then, they kind of opened up the bids for online and at the show.
Yeah.
Which I didn't hear any complaining about it, so I think it went pretty well.
Right.
No, I didn't hear any griping or belly aching.
Yeah, so it was kind of a one-time thing to, it's another one of those things we're going to have leeway. We're going to have a little bit of grace, when it comes to some of these things that have changed.
And for the record, that was my first time allowing online bidding at a show, and I fucking do not like it.
It's stressful.
Man, it wasn't so much stressful. It felt like I was staring at my fucking phone more than I was talking to the people who were actually there to see my stuff.
Yeah, you put the burn in your burner phone. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to smack it in your hand and be like, pay attention to the rest of us.
Right.
Somebody should have. But I was still working.
Yeah.
It was still work. I wasn't playing Candy Crush this time.
Oh, sure you weren't, pal.
I mean,
I felt bad for you, but good for you at the same time because I knew it meant good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once again, duality there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm happy people were that interested.
But yeah, it does take away from the face-to-face.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why we do shows.
It seems like maybe this is pent-up demand stuff too, but it seemed like the money in the room was strong, generally speaking.
Yeah.
I think so.
Folks come out at like a house on fire, man. There's a lot of money changed hands in that room that night.
Right.
It seemed like I saw a lot of papers getting filled and a lot of movement back and forth. That you can see that auction eye in somebody when they're and bidding on more than one, going back and forth. I saw more than a couple guys doing that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun to see.
Well, that's kind of the thing, maybe a thing, if I were a maker and at a show like that, kind of coming out of the pandemic and lockdown and all that stuff, where things are in the process of starting to ramp back up. I mean, there was the Texas show, right? The Fort Worth show. And then this was kind of the first big show from a high-end knives perspective. It's like, wow, is the money going to be in the room or not? But it sounds like it was. So that's, for the makers, that's a great thing.
Yeah, it was good. It was definitely strange to kind of go. I mean, and this is my perspective. I've been pretty, you know, locked down here and whatnot. Kind of went from 0 to 100 at that show.
Yeah.
You know, it was definitely strange, but also kind of great at the same time.
Yep.
You know, had my own concerns and whatever, but it was good, you know.
Well, man, it seemed to me that most folks got comfortable with it pretty quick.
You kind of had to.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it didn't hurt that the general vibe for Nashville seemed to just be, you know, fuck it.
Yeah, it was pretty. There was no, that I could tell, restrictions or whatever. They were pretty, but I think they just took them off that day or something. You know, it kind of wild.
Yeah, we were there a month or two ago, and things were fairly loose then. I mean, there were restrictions, but there was, in large parts, there were people generally not following, which is different than restrictions being lifted. So,
yeah, I know. As soon as that show was over, I got just started yawning. I was done, and I didn't realize how much probably stress I was holding over that show, and probably just going out and doing a show. You know, I didn't realize that till it was over, and I was just like, I was out.
Yeah, were you stressing coming into this one, Shauna? You had a bunch of knives, it seemed like, right? Or at least a few?
Oh, 4.
Yeah.
4, which is one more than I normally take to a show.
Yeah.
And just a whole different kind of stress. I mean, I probably hadn't been so nervous for a show, man, in years. It's just like, you know, you got out of practice with it and stayed at home and got kind of feral and just, and so many unknowns going into it, you know, like how many people are going to be there, and, you know, are they going to, well, and, you know, the old chestnut of, are they going to give a fuck that I'm there?
Right.
Yeah. A lot of irrational type of, you know, am I going to know how to do a show now? I started losing my voice, and what is it, like 4 hours or some shit?
Right.
It usually takes a solid, you know, 2-day blabber fest of blade show for it, but I started losing it then.
Yeah.
At the end of that show, it was wild. And yeah, you worry about, did somehow my knives go out of style, and, you know, or, you know, just these weird, you know, anxiety speaking up sort of bullshit thoughts.
Right. Yeah, 2 days at Blade Show will do it to you, plus add in the equivalent of another full day worth of voice work, yelling in the pit in the evenings because it's so loud trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Well, sounds like it was good.
It was. Very good. And, man, needed it more than I knew.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks to Socko and team for putting on a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, no complaints other than the reception food, and that I generally don't eat anyway, so it's a wonder I even tried it.
Yeah. So, Sean,
one goddamn time I do eat, man.
So, Sean, you stuck around and did there was a Saturday show too, right? Like a Nashville custom knife show kind of thing, like a regular show also on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I went to that. Didn't get there quite as early as I'd have wanted to, but we were there by a little bit after noon, and everybody who was there seemed to be doing pretty well.
Yeah.
By the time I got there, I know several people had already sold out, and I got there probably an hour and 20 minutes after the VIP tickets were allowed in.
Okay.
And they were allowed in at 11, and then I got there at like 12:15, 12:30, something like that.
Nice.
And by the time I got there, I know several guys had already sold out.
Yeah.
And then walking the room, I saw guys, you know, with really, you could tell their tables had been picked over. There were other guys, you know, they had knives out, but they were marked sold. So I think that was a pretty good indicator that hopefully most of them, if not all of them, had the same experience we did on Friday night and had a, you know, really financially positive show also. Not just a good time with friends, but they were able to feed their kids for another month or two.
Yeah.
I heard it was real good, and it was like a real Fast and Furious, first come, first serve on some pieces sort of show, which is that's exciting for being a new show and some pretty new makers I had never heard of. So it seemed all positive from what I heard.
Yeah, it looked it. And what you said about a feeding frenzy, man, I mean, really, around several makers' tables, it was just like the water had been chummed. You couldn't even get close to them.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I said. As soon as I walked in and I saw that kind of activity going on, and you can feel that hum, you can feel that fucking energy.
Yeah. It's a great feeling in the air.
Yeah, you could tell everybody was vibing, everybody was having a good time. All the makers that I stopped and talked to, they were all in a pretty good mood, so that's fairly indicative. I didn't talk to anybody who was just like, oh man, it's been okay. Everybody's like, yeah, I've had a great show. It's been awesome.
Well, it could be lots of stuff too, right? It doesn't hurt that it's the first time that most people are getting out in a long time, or many people are getting out in a long time. I know that, like I said, I know folks went to the Fort Worth show, but sometimes the distance, people don't make that much travel, right, to go that far. So for a bunch of people, I'm sure it's a big relief to kind of get back, right? I assume.
Yeah.
What, about how big do you think that show was, the Saturday show?
Man, it's hard to wager. I'm trying to think. To be honest with you, it was bigger there were more makers there than TKI.
Yeah.
But not a ton more.
Okay. So it was in the same room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same room, pretty much same layout, except at TKI, there were tables around the perimeter, and that was it. And at the Nashville show, they had a block of tables in the center also.
Gotcha.
And they might have had folks seated a little tighter together to make space. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like there were a few more makers there.
All right. So it sounds like the overall verdict was good show, good weekend all around.
Oh, fantastic. Better than good.
There was kind of an interesting announcement at the show, right? That's got some people up in arms. Why don't you guys talk about that?
Ooh, talking about the New York Custom Knife Show moving to Nashville next year.
Yeah.
Or I guess this year. Nope, next year.
No, it's this year.
It's
this year.
Fucked up.
Dates are November 19 and 20 in 2021.
So, yeah, there's a few people up in arms about that, but it was, from talking to Steve, it was just a booking issue. They're not allowed to have the amount of people, that they need. The why or what of Nashville, I think probably because he's done it there before and knows that it's a good place to have a show. It's got the good airport there, and it's a fun time. So,
yeah,
moved it there for a year to kind of still have some sort of show.
Right. So our friends in that part of the country are probably thrilled. I like it. It's close to my in-laws. I can go stay with them and hit that show late this year on that same time frame. I know East Coast guys are a little bummed about it, but so my assumption is that the intent is for 2022 to head back to Jersey or New York or some East Coast location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before anybody gets all up in arms about it, it's my understanding that it's a one-time thing.
Yeah.
All right. Don't burn Steve Delac at the stake just yet.
No, and let's give a proper plug for it. The New York Custom Knife Show Goes to Nashville is being held November 19th and 20th, 2021 in Nashville at the Sheraton Grand, Nashville downtown.
Nice.
Yeah. There'll be shows back at New York, and I fully plan on doing it again once it's there.
Yeah.
I had so much fun doing it there.
It's a great show. It's a cool spot. Being able to go into the city is really neat. There's lots of great restaurants there too. It's got its own unique vibe. So,
thinking about that Jersey back and forth, that super packed
the PATH train.
Yeah, on the way back. Well, that'd give me shivers right now.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody on the train's vaccinated, Michael. You got nothing to worry about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Dude, it gives me shivers without a goddamn disease going around.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What else? You guys see anything cool around and about lately? Sean, you mentioned something really cool. I think I saw it too.
Actually got a couple mentions I want to give. There were two makers that really stood out to me at the Nashville show on Saturday that I'd like to mention.
All right.
One's a maker by the name of Chase Boatwright of Boatwright Blade Works. And I believe he's Boatwright Blade Works on Instagram. He works with John McNeese, and he's a part-time maker now, and he works for John during the day and then makes his own knives whenever he gets a chance and with John's equipment. And, man, let's see. Nashville was his very first show.
Oh, nice.
And he brought a really nice selection of small fixed blades. I mean, just really nice work. He's making well ahead of where his years would indicate. I'm guessing a big part of that's being with John a lot. You know, John's paid his dues. He's put his time in.
Oh, yeah.
He knows where the bear shit and the buckwheat. And, man, I mean, just super solid little useful fixed blades. Very aesthetically appealing. Really nice material choices and finish choices. Just, I like the dude's work. It was really nice. I recommend anybody give his stuff a look.
Nice.
Yeah, I met him at the show. Not that show, but at the TKI.
Oh, yeah.
Nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice dude. I think we talked about Chase once in an early episode. He had a knife maker map thing that he was putting together to try to help.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah, that was Chase. He had, I don't know if he kept it going, if it's still out there or not, but I think we actually... I think it ended up in our show notes that we used to have. One of our listeners put these show notes together that were really, really nice. And I think it ended up in there as well. But yeah, it was like a knife maker map where people that were interested in knives or learning about knives or how knives are made, they could look around on a map and find makers and be able to reach out to them. Because in some cases, right, you might have makers in your own backyard that you don't even realize. And so yeah, Chase, that was Chase's project. Or at least he had a version of that. I know there's a couple of them out there.
All right. Well, I enjoyed talking to him. He was a nice guy, well-spoken dude. His wife was very friendly. And I mean, he makes a damn nice knife. I mean, I really, really enjoyed his work.
All right. Well, cool.
And then the other one I'd like to mention is a maker named Kurt American. And he had all folders and just some really interesting stuff. The one that really stood out to me was this just really radical kind of Tonto-y dude. And it had saw teeth on the back, and the saw teeth were really executed nicely, especially for a pocket knife, you know?
Yeah, right.
And just, I don't know, man. I liked his stuff. It stood out to me. I remembered it. And when I got to see it and handle it, his fit and finish was good. Everything was clean, and it was nice.
It looks like he's really cleaned up his work.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his stuff right now, and it's really looking pretty clean. You know, it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, a friend of mine at the show, Mike Rakowski, he was like, hey, check this out. And it was one of the sawtooth folders. And I was like, oh, who is this? And he goes, it's Kurt American. He'll be at the show tomorrow. You should go check it out. His stuff's good. And I listen to Mike. He's always turned me on to solid cats.
I think we can say Mike's a friend of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good dude. I like him quite a bit.
Solid dude, man.
Yep, for sure. It sounds weird, like sometimes it feels like we're plugging people, and I guess in some sense we are. At the same time, there's lots of stuff you see at shows that makes you kind of shake your head like, I don't know what's going on here exactly, right? So I think it's nice to be able to call out people that we see that are doing a good job. And
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're dudes that like knives and like good people. So if I see either one of those, I want to say something about it.
Yep, absolutely.
Because we're not supposed to talk about the people we don't like.
Yeah, right.
We don't talk about the people we don't like because a name disremembered is a name that has passed on.
Whoa.
Woo.
Check that out. All right. So one of the other things that we saw, I think you mentioned it before we started recording, Sean, was a new thing from the American Tomahawk guys.
Oh, yeah, man. That ATC Model 2. Like that a lot, man. Got that bearded hawk thing going on, then with the hammer back.
I hear him rubbing his hands together over there.
I know.
Oh, dude, that's totally me rubbing my hands together. I like that fucking tomahawk.
Yeah, that is a great looking hawk. I think those guys are going to do very, very well with that. I hope they do. It's fantastic. And so high five to Ryan and Rob and the crew over there, American Tomahawk. I think they're doing fun stuff. So.
Oh, and the saps Ryan's been making.
Mm-hmm.
The saps are badass.
Dude, I got to find me a way to get one of those. I'm not sure what the process is, but I've got to have one.
Yes. I just, a friend of ours, David Pritchard, actually just sent me an RMJ Snuggles. that showed up here the other day. We've talked about that a couple times on the show before. It's sort of like a long tomahawk, but with a warhammer striking face and then a big spike on the back. So super, super cool thing. Ryan and the crew at RMJ doing crazy, crazy cool stuff all over the place. So it seems like home run derby over there. They're just doing really fun stuff. So I was thrilled with
the
this.
creativity's flowing like wine.
Yes.
Having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. It shows in every fucking thing they're doing.
Absolutely. All right. You guys got anything else you want to hit on?
No. I've just been back to work and not quite sure what I'm doing.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I got back to work today. Went and bought a Blackstone yesterday. So.
The post show, who am I? What am I supposed to do? Kind of time again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Luckily, I had parts that I had been working on, so I wasn't coming in cold, or I'd still be trying to fucking jumpstart my ass. I guarantee it. I know how I am.
This was nice because I had Sunday off to catch up on some mowing and shit, so I was ready to go back to work on Monday.
You had some stuff in the works too, right? So it's not like you were completely wiped bench, right? You had some other things in motion. So
you got plenty of shit in the works, and we're
Speaking of stuff in the works, man, that Mokume bolster, dude, you put up the picture of is fucking tight.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just a good looking knife. I love the materials choices. And
little touch of Zerk in there too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it works. And I think that the bolster cut works super well with the pattern on the Mokume.
Exactly. I thought the same thing, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, it was like you actually thought about that or something.
Sometimes I do.
Come on now.
I just leave it to chance myself. You amaze me.
I think this one will pull through. It's the second one I've done like that. And something about that bolster cut, I like the look of it, but it does not want to contour for shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could see that.
It wants to dig in. I ruined the first version that I ever tried, which was, don't touch heavy, but it was, I think it was like Zerkatai. And,
shh.
Yeah. Had to trash it, but it's one of those that it's a pain to contour for me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Some are like that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, cool. And you got a big vacation coming up. Birches are going. It's like a Griswold family vacation action coming.
Hell yeah. We've been planning this one for like a year and a half or some shit.
Once canceled, now back on.
Mm-hmm. Kids have been, man, they've been so good. You know, through all this shit, so they deserve this.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some fun.
All right. Well, by the time we get this one out, folks might be listening to it on their way home from Blade Show. So we hope everybody had a good time at Blade. Hope this gives you a little something to listen to on the ride home. And people have heard, I'm sure, firsthand at the show about TKI and how things went. So we're interested in your perspective. Please share with us on Instagram or in our Facebook group. That's kind of the primary place for us for discussion. We'd love to hear what you guys thought of the Nashville TKI this year right before Blade. And what went well, what didn't, what do you hope is different next time around? There's always room to do better with shows. I think we all know that. We've all been part of that. So it'd be interesting to hear. And
constructive, though.
Yeah, constructive. Nobody likes whining.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
And we'll probably get a nice recap from Tom out of Blade Show. He had a little zombie look in his eye this morning on his daily Facebook post. He's been... I hate to say he's been burning the midnight oil because he burns the midnight oil every damn day, it seems like. But Homeboy's looking a little spent over there.
It'd take a whaling fleet to keep him in the midnight oil he's going to be burning. You know how Tom is.
Yes. Well, we hope Tom listens to this on the way home and is feeling good about the show. It looked like he's taken one metric shitload of knives with him, which is real cool. A lot of people will be really happy with that.
Hell yeah.
Community fixed blade resurgence is on strong. So Tom's coming in loaded for bear, coming in hot.
Hell yeah. Especially that one piece. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way cool. Well, I think that's it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to our patrons as always. And high five to George over there at American Metal Exchange. And thanks for listening.
Thanks all.
Thanks, folks.
To learn more about our makers, you can find Tom Crine on the web at crineknives.net, in his Facebook group, Crine Knives, or in his Instagram account, @CrineKnives. For Michael Birch, check birchtreeblades.com, Facebook group Birch Tree Blade Works, or Michael's Instagram @BirchtreeBlades. For myself and the Raygun Bead Project, we're on the web at raygundivision.com. We have a Facebook group called Raygun Division, or my personal Instagram @msteiner. For those interested in photos, references from the show, or some discussion about the show itself, you can find us on the web at markofthemaker.com, in a Facebook group called Mark of the Maker, or on our Instagram @markofthemaker. Last but not least, the ultra cool and haunting background music we use for the show is a piece called Noir Guitar by Stevie's Amp Shack, found at the Free Music Archive and licensed under Creative Commons CC BY 4.0. Thanks for listening.